Do my fingers look different sizes to you, Maggie?
I cannot tell through this 10 pixel
Can you not see?
Discord call.
One of my fingers is considerably swollen. I'll tell you more
Why?
about that in the podcast probably. But yeah, just a little event, just interesting moment that happened in my speech yesterday. But it's all good.
I have a huge bruise on my leg because yesterday I was home alone and I decided I wanted to get back to my computer. I was going to run and jump on this tall like bar stool chair and then go over it. And I didn't go over it. And I landed on like my shin. No, I landed on like my shin on the metal part. And it hurt really bad. And then I just sat down and I was like, why? Why did I do this? It
Life
seemed
is
really
pain,
cool in my
Your
head.
Highness. Anyone who says otherwise is selling something.
Exactly.
Princess Diaries. Wait, that is Princess Diaries, right?
No.
Princess Bride.
Oh, that's what I
Big
meant.
difference.
I'm sorry. No. I always mix up those titles. They're so different.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that, though. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other injuries in the room? Eddie, Mom?
Aside from the chronic tendonitis, I'm doing pretty well.
That's good.
Same.
Yeah.
Pinch nerve in my right arm.
Aside from the constant pain that we endure every day, I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, but I
No
have
bruises or
a knife,
anything.
A knife stick in my back, but other than that.
I guess we're ready to start then.
Let's roll the intro music.
Max and Dad's wholesome chaos. Max and Dad's wholesome chaos.
Okay, I did have a story for the beginning of the podcast. This isn't even the story, though. This is something else. But I wanted to say this because it just pops into my head. Okay, so, sorry. I'm, like, frustrated about this story. When you park on certain streets or just anywhere, sometimes parking, like, what do they call them? Parking enforcement will come by. And, you know, it's Los Angeles. There's signs literally everywhere where it's like, you can park here from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., but not from 4 p.m. to 5, and you can park from 6 to 8. Like, just everything is so complicated. The street I live on has no parking regulations, and so it's like, it's cool to park on. However,
That's good.
parking enforcement or whatever came by and they draw on your tires to see how long you've been there. Now,
Yep.
I park there every single day. And so I didn't even notice that it was on my car. Somebody else had to tell me. And they're like, you just have to like wipe it off. Dude, I have been trying to get it off. It is not coming off. I'm like, how rude is that? That somebody's going to draw on my car even when I'm 100% allowed to park here whenever I want. And, like, I can't even get it off. How lame is that?
Did you try a makeup wipe?
Dude, I tried scrubbing it. Like, I almost took, like, a black Sharpie and just drew over it.
Yeah, what do you think they use to mark that?
I have
Usually it's, like,
no
chalk.
idea. It can't be chalk. It's got to be special chalk or something.
The idea was like if the tire doesn't rotate at all, then they know it hasn't moved. But if there's no restrictions, I don't know why they would do that on your street.
Exactly. It's crazy. Unless they did it someplace that wasn't on my street. Maybe that's I don't know.
We'll all team up on it when we get there in Los Angeles. And
We'll make sure that mark is gone by the time we leave.
Totally.
That's our one goal for the family LA trip. No, the story I did want to start with, though, was last night I was at a friend's house, a group of my friends who live together, and they've just moved, so we've been, like, hanging out at their new place. It's really nice, and another friend came over last night and had this idea, and she was like, what if we sleep here, wake up at 5, drive to Malibu for sunrise? And I was like, I got a podcast in the morning. I have like work calls tomorrow. She was like, what time? I was like 10. She's like, no, we can do that. And she pitched it to me where she was like, just imagine you get on the podcast and you're like, guys, guess my morning. I got up at 5. I drove to Malibu. I saw the sunset at Point Dune. Like, it was Point Dune? No, Point Doom. Yeah. And it
And the
was
sunrise.
so pretty.
That would be the sunrise.
Oh, yeah. I don't see many sunrises, so I just constantly assume anything with the sun is at sunset. But she's like, just imagine that on the podcast and how good that'll be to tell your family and for, like, all the listeners. And I was like, wait a second, you have a point. However, I decided to go home and sleep. But I figured I'd still go ahead and tell you guys the story so we can kind of get the experience.
How lame. What a disappointment.
What? I still only got like 5 hours of oh my gosh, my voice just gave out. I still only got like 5 hours of sleep. So
I hate that we always start this podcast talking about your lack of sleep.
you know, I feel like a lot of people my age don't get a ton of sleep, but my face shows it more than others.
It might just be something in the family because I feel like for maybe a month now, I've been getting a solid 8 hours of sleep basically every night. And every single time I wake up, I'm like so exhausted. I look super tired. My eyes are so baggy. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like an iron deficiency or something that we've got going on.
Well, you didn't get it from me because I hardly sleep at all, and I feel and look fantastic. You know,
I wish.
and speaking of feeling and looking fantastic, you know what else? Summer days are here at last, and that means your kid's closet might need an update. Well, Stitch Fix makes it easy with fresh options to let your kids' style shine, all within your budget.
Stitch Fix Kids is the effortless way to get clothes that fit your kid and price range. Items start at just $10.
With your feedback and input, the experts at Stitch Fix learn about your kids' taste, sending styles that are perfect for them and affordable for you.
Your kids can try on pieces at home before you buy. Just keep what they love and send back the rest. Plus, shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free.
From toddlers to picky tweens, Stitch Fix Kids has growth spurts taken care of with sizes 2T to 18.
There's no subscription required. Simply order a refresh as needed or set it and forget it with regular seasonal fixes. You're in control.
Try today at stitchfix.com/chaos and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your kids' fix.
That's stitchfix.com/chaos for 25% off when you keep everything in your kids' fix.
stitchfix.com/chaos. I can't wait to try that out. That's a really cool website because you get to pick all your styles and personality interests and what you like, and then kind of create your own custom store, and then they just send you cool clothes. So
Yeah,
definitely
for sure.
worth checking out. I can't wait to do it. Yeah. So listen, we never really introduced this podcast. Welcome everyone to Wholesome Chaos. This is the podcast where we share our lives with you and we try to elevate your life as well with fun stories, with a lot of laughter and also some encouragement and positivity to make your life a little brighter. My name is Dan Thurman.
I'm Maggie Thurman.
I'm Eddie Thurman.
And I'm Shay Thurman.
And by the way, Shay Thurman is an award-winning screenwriter, freshly back from Austin. From what was the name of the film festival?
This was the Austin Revolution Film Festival.
Austin Revolution Film Festival, where she won for the best comedy screenplay in the short film category for her new screenplay, Heir Mail, which is being edited right now. Way to go, baby.
Round of applause.
Round of applause for Mom.
Yeah, this was not for
Snaps.
the film, but it was just kind of interesting that I threw that. I entered it last year for this year, and not even thinking that like I was making the film. So I will submit it for next year for the film, and that'd be cool if we got to see it there.
And that's good because they will have already heard about it, and now they get to see the film, and they'll be like giving you another award. Will you get another belt buckle? Because the awards looks like a little belt buckle, gold belt buckle.
Yeah, it's a custom belt buckle, and they change every year. So
It's a Texas thing. It's an Austin thing.
yeah.
Yeah, get it? That's pretty cool. So yeah, so I mentioned about my finger.
Yes.
So yesterday I had a speech in Nashville, and you know how in the beginning of my speeches I'd kind of like re-cue and reset, and I do a tumbling run across the stage. Well, on my second back handspring, I kind of under-rotated, or the stage was uneven or something, and I jammed my finger like into the stage, like dead on straight. It's all swollen. It hurts a lot. And it was one of those things where the audience didn't know it happened, but I knew it happened. And so, you're going through the motions of delivering a speech and everything's playing off as completely cool and normal. But in my mind, there's this whole other story taking place like, okay, can I bend it? Yeah, I could still bend it a little bit, not as much as I normally do. I wonder how that's going to affect my juggling and my handstands and my other things that I'm planning to do for this speech. But no one ever knew. I got a standing ovation at the end, and it all worked out. But just kind of like we were talking about at the beginning, pain is life. Pain is, everybody's kind of hurting.
Did you have to cut the puppet skit?
The puppet skit with the finger?
No,
The finger
no,
puppet
not
skit.
The finger puppet
The
skit.
finger puppet skit? No, that
Aw.
I pulled it off. I just had, my one puppet talking to his plumpy cousin over here. No, it was. It's also turning a little bit blue. But as you know, there have been a lot of those speeches where I have a little bit of an injury going on.
Yeah.
It gets a little harder when you get older, though. That's for sure.
I've been trying to do a little preventative, not injury, but just like, I guess kind of detriment to my spine. Because the other day I bought a posture corrector off of Amazon. Just because I noticed that a lot of the times I slouch a little bit, like a lot of people. And I thought, okay, well, what if I just got one? I wear hoodies like 90% of the time anyways. So what if I just like started wearing a posture corrector for a little bit a day underneath my hoodies and stuff? And so I've been doing that. Well, I got it yesterday. So I've done it like twice. But it's really interesting. I want to have good posture. I feel like you notice that about people.
Well, if only we would have pointed that out to you at least once or twice as you were growing up about your posture, that would have been good parenting.
You're so funny. But how is that helpful? Just saying like your posture's bad.
No, you have a kind of a curvature to your spine, and we did exercises and kind of
But
all
it's
these
not
different
forward,
approaches. Do you
it's
remember all that?
sideways. I do remember that, but it's not like slouch curvature. It's like it just a little zigzag. Yeah.
I don't remember the zigzag.
I remember getting that x-ray back and being like, okay, Picasso, I like that. Do you get that TikTok reference? Anyone in the room? Nope.
No, but I get Picasso reference.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
know Picasso.
Yeah. By any chance, did any of you see my last TikTok?
Yes, the one with Josh. I saw it.
Yeah.
The emo girl, emo boy thing.
It has over 1 million likes, Dad.
You're kidding me.
Wow.
That's
kidding.
awesome.
I woke up this morning and was like, what?
It didn't have that when I woke up this morning. I'll tell you that. It was
What
just
did it
getting
have when-
started.
What did it have when you woke up?
Like 60,000 likes.
No,
It was-
really?
It was low. Maybe it didn't like refresh from last night or something. But yeah, it
Okay,
was
that's
crazy.
possible. I was going to say, I thought
That
it had
is
60,000 before I went to bed. But yeah, I woke up and I was like, well, man, it just goes to show you could put so much effort into a TikTok and it do terrible. And then you and your friend just bark and meow at each other.
Yeah.
And it's over 1 million likes. Oh, man.
I had a couple good TikToks recently.
You did, yeah.
Eddie's been helping me out with that a lot. And so the cool ones with the contact juggling ball, the Fushigi one, that did really well. And the one before it with Michael Motion, Eddie edited those. And so he was able to work in some different footage that made him extra cool. And then on my way up to Nashville, I did the golfing across the highway to the McDonald's sign, which a lot of
Yeah.
people thought was kind of like, oh, that should have been illegal. That was super dangerous. It was not at all dangerous. First of all, it was really early in the morning on a Sunday when I got there. And so there was very little traffic. I sort of edited the video to make it look like there was more traffic, just for whatever, like for fun.
To play up the danger.
To play up the danger, yes. And you're hitting the birdie ball, which only goes about 50 yards. So I knew there was no way it was going to go like into the McDonald's. No way it could go long. If anything, it would just not make it over the street. But it made it over the street, and then I made the shot, and I got a birdie. So, or as somebody put, a McBirdie. I like that.
That's
A
neat.
McBirdie.
Oh,
I wish I'd
that's
have thought of
clever.
that with the
That's
caption.
Yeah, but so many people were like, "Ah, you hit a golf ball," and they were all angry. And like, there's only 50 people saying it's a birdie ball. It's not a golf ball. It's not a golf ball. It's not a golf ball. But
Yeah, I appreciate you jumping in there, babe. Coming to my defense.
Yeah, just for the record, it's not a golf ball, okay?
And I don't
It's
get
birdie
paid
ball.
by birdie ball, by the way. My birdie ball videos are completely, just out of the love that I have for the sport and for that cool little product that's served my life for probably 15 years at least.
yeah, in your YouTube video that you did, just because you love the birdie balls, Maggie, you hear Maggie's little voice.
Yes.
When she was really young. It's so cute. It's like,
Down the hill.
And then what happened was John Breaker, who's the inventor of birdie ball, he saw me post that and he's like, this is exactly what I envision people doing with birdie balls. And so we started talking and he sent me like 500 birdie balls with my logo on them. And he's done that a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
So that's the only thing I get out of the deal is I've never paid for a birdie ball in my life.
Lifetime supply of birdie balls. That's pretty sweet.
It
Yeah.
is. It's the little things in life that make it all worthwhile.
yeah. And Spencer thinks they're dog toys. So every now and then, if we leave one down where he can get to it, he'll like swipe it. And I caught him the other day and he was sneaking away with one. I was like, what does he have? He's acting really weird and sneaky. And it was a birdie ball.
Well, he can have a couple. I have a lot.
Oh my gosh, I miss our dog so bad.
I'll bet.
Can you bring him to LA?
No.
Why?
Because I'm first going to Mexico. So I last minute booked a speech in Cabo. So I'm flying to Mexico to do this speech. Oh my gosh. And the speech itself is for a brokerage, like a real estate company. And it's in a $13 million private house on the beach, like this
Wow.
mansion. That's one of their properties that they're trying to sell. So that's where they're having the awards dinner. And last minute, she was like, Dan, could you come in and do a speech for our awards dinner? Like, yes, absolutely. So that's what I'm doing. And then the next day, I'll meet you in Los Angeles and the family.
Yay! Oh my gosh, we're gonna have so much fun, guys. So many of my friends want to meet y'all that I think we're just gonna like have multiple brunches. Or it's like, maybe we'll have multiple brunches in a day. I don't know. You guys might be pretty booked. But I'm very, very excited.
Or a big party. Can we just have a big party?
No, because I live in a studio.
We could go to the beach and just put up a tent and have a beach party.
We can do a meet and greet, but just for my friends.
Yeah.
So Maggie, this we got something from our website. Obviously on the website, wholesomechaos.com, you could submit your questions. And this was a question that came in a while ago from a girl named Steph. And Steph wrote again with a little bit of an update. So can I read this to you?
Yeah.
She said, hey, I don't know if you remember, but I wrote in last year about being stuck in lockdown in Australia and losing myself. You recommended I start a hobby, something to look forward to. No, I didn't start off juggling. However, I started photography, something I always loved, but never made time for until then. It's still just a hobby, but something I enjoy getting out and about and exploring new places to photograph. So no question, but just a thank you. So how about that?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that makes me so happy.
Absolutely. And just want to encourage you even more, Steph, to continue to experiment, have fun with it, play, and create that time and space around, that hobby for you to learn and continue to collaborate, maybe meet some other photographers, explore some other types of photography. It's an endless journey of learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got into that a
remember-
little bit too, right?
Yeah,
Photography?
I was gonna say, there was a guy at my school who had a photography account on Instagram that said like shots by and then his name. And I remember this was probably when I was like in 8th grade, but 8th grade was like the start of our high school. So I was like still around those people. And when he did that, he was a little trendsetter. So many other people started like shots by and then their name. And then he started an account that said shots by you. And it was where people could send in their own photos to be posted, like reposted. And I did that once. And it was actually a pretty good picture. I can see if I can find it and send it to Mom to put in the YouTube version of this. But it was of Spencer. And also I did like little photo shoots with my friends, wanted to be really cool and artsy and edgy. But just looking back at it, I'm like, oh, wow, that's not, what? Like, I know you guys know what I'm talking about right now to my parents. And some of those photo shoots were so bad. But it's all part of the learning process. And
We'll put some of those shots in the podcast as well.
I don't even know if I can stomach that. But we'll see.
I thought, you know what? I didn't think they were bad.
Yeah, they were good.
I
but
thought
the
they were
funny
very-
ones were when you were really young.
They weren't supposed to be funny though, Mom. They were supposed to be like edgy and intense. And instead
But they
it's like
were.
why?
Brilliant.
They were very free and experimental, and
Yeah.
I mean, I really felt like they were true. They were honestly representing what you were trying to accomplish and create, and there was nothing wrong
Wow.
about it. It was all just
No,
part of learning.
And it was part of an experience and growing up and learning an expression, having an outlet for that expression, which was
And you never know where
really,
it's going
really
to take
cool.
you.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
Like
And
Claire,
recently-
your cousin,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a professional photographer. Incredible.
And recently, I just, as you guys know, I got a point and shoot film camera. And now I've been kind of like experimenting a little more with that. And I've been trying to get more comfortable with having my picture taken and everything like that. So photography is a big part of life. And if you find enjoyment in that and like as an outlet, I think that's incredible. And definitely go for that.
I have a question for you. So when you think about the hobbies that you've played around with a little bit for TikTok, you know, skateboarding, diving, roller skating, cooking, you know, different challenges like that. Which of those, if any, are you genuinely interested and willing like to pursue and really learn and become great at, or you just kind of like enjoy the experimentation phase?
You know, I really enjoy all of them. It's hard, at least what I noticed with skateboarding, because so many people were like, why'd you stop skating? Why'd you stop skating? People expect you to improve on their timeline. Like, okay, she did an ollie today. I want to see a kickflip tomorrow. She did like this, whatever. And I wasn't improving as quickly as people wanted to see new tricks. And it felt more stressful than enjoyable at that point. Like, I really, really did enjoy it in the beginning. But people can be quite brutal, particularly in skateboarding. I'm very, very judgmental about that. And so I just found that like it didn't feel like a safe space emotionally to continue to learn on the internet. So I decided to stop learning like on the internet for a bit. And then I just like didn't pick up my skateboard as much. And like I'll still pick it up occasionally, but it's more of a time thing. Diving. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm excited to practice diving again once it gets hot out. Because I'm not getting in that pool right now. But diving is interesting because that was one of the things, like when I first started, it was an accident, you know? Like I didn't intend to be that something that I was learning, but everyone told me I was bad at diving, so I was like, okay, let's try and get better. And now like the USA official diving team follows me on TikTok and I'm like, what the heck? How did we get here? But I used to think like, oh my gosh, even if I got a normal dive, I could never do like any other different sort of dive. And then I like got an inward dive. And now my brain's kind of like, okay, what's the limit? Because I didn't even think I could do that. So like, what else could I maybe do? Diving is definitely...
I remember I was out of town when I saw you post that TikTok where you were doing the 1.5s
Yeah.
off of that board, which is not a good board. Like you were really fighting to try to get around, and you just consecutively crashed face first into the water, and it was hilarious. But part of me as a dad was like, "Oh my gosh, my girl is hurting herself right now for the video."
So bad. I don't know. But here's the thing. It doesn't feel like a crazy. I'm so good at pushing myself that it doesn't feel like a crazy long time until I'm editing the footage and it's like 45 minutes of me just falling face first into the water. But I was hurt after that. Like my stomach was like red from just hitting the water. My head did not feel good. And I still didn't get it. I still got to work on that one.
Yeah, you ought to pin that one to bring it back up to the front of your TikTok feed.
That's pretty
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
didn't know that you were like so into diving.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm kind of surprised because I never learned how to dive and always hated it and stressed me out. And even I'm an Eagle Scout, and in order to get an Eagle Scout, you have to get a merit badge, or like a swimming merit badge, where you have to dive. And I never got it. But I mean, like, they just gave it to me because I did so many belly flops. I did it like 7 or 8 times, and they were just cracking up. And they're like, "All right, it's okay, it's okay."
Oh, I'm sorry.
I never dove.
Yeah. No, Eddie, I did swim team for a year and a little bit in high school, and we had to like dive into the water, but it was like off a little podium, so it wasn't that intense. But no, I never like learned how to dive either. Thus, when I posted a video, what was it, last summer, where I just dived in it for fun. And then there was thousands of people saying, "You call that a dive? That's a terrible dive. Why did her legs bend like that?" Then it gave me a little motivation to learn how to dive.
And then Molly Carlson encouraged you, and I tried it with you, and yeah, it was a cool little story. And let's pick that up again this summer and see if we can, advance it just a little bit further.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, for the both of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we're going to get Eddie that merit badge as well.
Yeah. I'm going to re-earn it, or you guys are going to re-earn it.
The thing is, though, you're both great at swimming. Like, you've always been very natural swimmers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you put us in like baby swimming classes as kids?
No, we just threw you in the pool.
Well, Eddie was in swim, which basically is you hold your baby and you go like this and you sing a little song and you go in something about a truck in there. It's not the wheels on the bus, but it's some little, and the baby's supposed to blow bubbles in the water. And then you dunk them in the water and then you bring them back out.
And then you blow in their face.
And you blow in their face so they catch their breath.
You dunk your baby in the water, and then you pick them up, and then you blow in their face, which startles them, and then they breathe.
And then you dunk them again.
No, it's the opposite. No, it's the opposite. You blow in their face so they go, and then you dunk them.
Oh, okay.
And then you pop them back out.
I knew I was doing something wrong.
I totally forgot about that.
Dad did it
Do
in the
not
wrong
recommend
order.
this. We're not responsible for your baby's swim classes.
I would dunk my baby and blow in his face underwater, and then pick him up and then shake him gently.
Shake them dry.
Oh my goodness.
And he loved it though. We'd just go, you would go swim, and he'd be like, swim.
What I remember is the noodle that you guys would put in front of us and then say swim to it and then move it. And I was like, what is happening?
It was always just
That
like
was
this
your dad.
this close.
I didn't do that because I felt like, okay, a little bit, but he would just keep doing it and keep going
Only at
further
a certain
and further.
point, though. Now, you got to understand, there was a long process, like arms on the noodle. The thing we never did was the inflatable army things.
Yeah.
Because, the inflatable arms, to me, that's more dangerous because if your kid falls in the pool and they don't have those on, if they've never been in a pool without those on, they might even not even realize they can swim.
Well, but also the idea that that's going to help keep them up, it doesn't. Your baby can tip right over and drown while their arms are floating.
Yeah.
It's super dangerous, and they do not recommend those like any legitimate swimming instruction.
Yeah. So, but with you put the pool noodle under your arms, but then I'd put it in front of you and let you swim to it and gradually make it farther. And then eventually, yes, when you were getting to it, I would just inch it away a little bit more, not indefinitely, but just to show you, yes, you can keep going. And eventually you don't need the noodle anymore.
You had to pretend to start drowning a little bit to finally get the noodle.
Yeah, you had to play it up a bit.
So when you traveled as much as I did, right, you got windows of time with your kids where you really can make an impact and make an impression or teach them something. And so I always felt like I had to get the most out of those little lessons, which honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot lately in terms of what it was like growing up. The whole COVID experience of being home so much has really made me like brutally aware of how much I missed of your kids growing up. and just how high that cost was, how big that price was for me to pay. And I don't know that you think about it. I think it's a bigger, harder thing for the parent who has to leave than for the kids who are there without the parent. Because you go on about your life and mom's there for you all the time. But there's a lot of challenges for that as a father when you come home because, Eddie, when we were at Broncar's house the other day with his kids and just seeing how present he is with them every moment.
Constantly.
All the time.
Yeah.
And with that kind of consistency in a kid's life, you really get to shape them in a much different way.
Yeah, but I don't think you were really gone that much because if you think about the parent who has to get up early and go fight traffic, and so they leave before their kid leaves, or maybe even up, and then they get home, and especially when the kids are little, they might get home, have 30 minutes with the kid goes to sleep. So, but in our case, you might have been gone 1 or 2 nights a week when they were really young, and when you were home, you were there. You were, 24/7, really involved. They'd go to preschool for maybe 3 hours, 2 or 3 days a week, but you were there, I think, a lot more than most 9 to 5 parents for sure.
That is kind of crazy that in a way it sort of does even out. Maybe you ended up seeing us because you were totally there. Like whenever you weren't gone, you were there.
Yeah,
you were
very
involved and we
present.
were doing stuff. We do stuff before school at 5:15 a.m. Like all this stuff. So maybe like you even saw us more than someone who does work a 9 to 5 job would, or any other people who work late shifts, like work night shifts, so that they're gone before their kids home from school, and then they don't get home until 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, and we're blessed to have a 2-parent household, a loving mom and dad who both support you incredibly. And so when I left, I knew mom was in charge and she was doing things. But the other tricky part is the consistency. If you're gone for 3 or 4 days and you come back, it's hard to pick up where you left off or to show up with any sense of authority. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like if I come home and say these are the rules of the house, well, not that I had big rules in the house, but just the guiding and shaping the events of our household, that fell more to your mom because she was the one who was there all the time.
Yeah.
And so you become this little a regular featured character in your kid's life, but not the central authority, I guess. It's a weird thing, but one of the principles of chaos theory that I'm reading a lot about, and physics generally, you probably studied this, is just irreversibility. Like you can't go back, period. And so when you're thinking about decisions and choices and paths and all the kind of stuff that like you and I've been talking about, Eddie, with regard to things you could have or should have done differently during COVID or whatever, it's like we can get stuck there, but we can only go forward. And I'm so grateful that we have maintained the closeness of this family and that mom was there all the way to guide us. And yeah, I wouldn't trade any of it. But what I'm saying is I realize now, I didn't realize then. It's kind of like in Breaking Bad, Eddie, at the end of Breaking Bad where Walter White goes,
Well, Breaking Bad spoilers, in case you haven't watched it. In which case, go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. It's good. But all along he's going, I'm doing this for the family. I'm doing this for the family.
Yeah.
And then at the end he's like,
It was all for me.
it was all for me.
Yeah.
And I feel that way a little bit about traveling because it was like, I loved the idea of being the conquering hero, coming home from an adventure as as the hero with the paycheck.
Doing it for the family, yeah.
Doing it for the family. Well, yeah, but my gig is like I get to go and hear people clap for me and, go to interesting, cool hotels and amazing places.
We didn't applaud nearly as much at home as you got on the road. So
I know. It is kind of funny how, I think we could all kind of relate when we're around NSA and stuff. And everyone's, gassing up Dad. They're like, man, he's the greatest speaker ever and all this stuff. And it's like, man, you've got a big fan base. Don't gas him up too hard now. But
Yeah.
I don't let it go to my head though. I try not to.
I remember
That's good.
the year of NSA when you were president.
The
Some of
National
my-
Speakers Association.
Yeah. No, the National Spy Association. Some of my friends started calling me like the princess of NSA because like my dad was like the ruler or whatever.
President, not a ruler.
But I was like, man.
Just kind of like the lead volunteer.
No, and we had a little ongoing joke where like somebody would like cut in front of me or something, or one of my friends would like take something of mine, and then just another person would be like, "Excuse me, do you know who her dad is? Do you know whose daughter this is? That's Dan Thurman's daughter." Yeah.
And now they flipped it. They're like, that's Maggie's dad.
No, they don't. Oh my gosh, Dad, people still make jokes about you all the time to me where they're like, "Oh yeah, you're cool, but your dad's cooler."
Same.
Yeah.
Always.
No, we're just messing with you, Dad. But it's true. You have a lot of people who love you, and that's great. You're a very lovable person.
I guess I realize, what you just said there, Eddie, about the whole notion of it's hard when I'm recognized in that way, or like I have the skills that I have, and your tendency was always to try to cut your own trail and like not live in my shadow, but to do something different.
Yeah.
Like that. Was there anything that I was trying to like teach you or guide you that you were deliberately like, no, I'm not going to do that because that's like your thing, not my thing?
I don't know. I'd have to really think about this. But I do think just in general, it is little things too. Like, I don't know, like feeling like I'm pretty productive at night, or I don't know. I just think, I don't know. Our brains work differently. So like, naturally for you, the concept of like, oh, if I could go do anything, it would be going outside and like having fun, like playing sports. And for me, it's like, I'd want to, go play video games and like, explore some world that I've never seen before. So I think we just have different, I don't know. We're just different. Yeah. We have differences like everybody.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys both play guitar, so you have that interest.
That is true.
You used to both play in the praise band, so there's
Yeah,
definitely interest that you guys share. But when Eddie was little and Maggie was little, and you said they had to learn to juggle a certain number to get something or whatever, and it was just really you
man.
doing a challenge,
but I
but it
think-
made them say, "I'm never going to juggle again." And of course, now they love juggling. But
Yeah, I think that was the right thing to do, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. I don't know if we ever said, I don't know if Maggie had to juggle for anything, but I really wanted, I wanted an airsoft gun, and it was typical, like, you'll shoot your eye out. Like, all, these are weapons. They're not, like, as lethal, but they're still very dangerous. So I read a whole rule sheet of what I would do, how I'd handle it, like just the stuff like that.
It was a very good presentation.
Yeah.
Like he tried to close me on like how he was going to be a responsible airsoft gun owner. And by the way, he wanted to buy it with his own money. He wasn't even trying to convince me to buy it for him. He was just trying to let him buy it.
Sign off on, exactly. Yeah, so I like had this whole presentation about airsoft gun safety and all this stuff, and he was basically made the decision of if I can with 3 balls throw and make 100 catches, then that was then I could buy it.
Then he could spend his own money on a gun.
Oh my goodness.
And he did it. And once you know for life. That's all.
Yeah.
I remember making a PowerPoint presentation on why I should be allowed to be homeschooled when I was having a hard time at school. And I remember really appealing to, like, your heartstrings, Dad, where I was like, don't you hate that you can never, like, you don't see your kids as much as you want to? Well, imagine if you could just take me with you. Like, imagine if I could just travel with you all the time. And I think I had y'all a little bit. Just not enough.
Oh, I was sold on that plan.
Oh yeah,
for
he
me
was.
too.
He was sold on it because I'd be the one homeschooling while he's traveling around getting applause.
No,
And
Maggie
I
would be
said,
with me.
No.
She would be.
Yeah, not all
Maggie
the time.
would have
I'd
no
be doing the
education.
schooling.
Yeah.
Maggie
Or
would
social
know nothing.
skills.
You would have great writing skills. You'd learn how to write a screenplay. You'd learn grammar.
I'd probably
You'd
be
learn
able
good
to
stuff
juggle
like
4
that.
balls by now.
You wouldn't know how to do math or science.
But it was the same thing for me, like where I don't think I ever made a presentation, but around the same time, like we both almost became homeschooled because
Yeah.
of just life.
Well, what you
Other
realize is
people.
just how hard school is as
Yeah.
parents. You know, the number of hours that you just got to resolve to being at a desk and in a classroom. And I mean, some teachers are great, and you really do get a lot of incredible learning out of that experience. But at what cost? It's like, it seems like it's just way too taxing and time consuming. There's a lot of better ways to do education. And I love
Yeah.
the experimental systems of education where people are involved in group learning or different ages learning together or teaching each other, and just more like community driven systems for how do people just develop and grow. I think there's way better ways to do that than in the like traditional classroom. And that was what I think we were all kind of trying to figure out, is like, what's a better way to do this? And how could we take advantage of the travel opportunities as a family?
Yeah, I spent a ton of time researching it and trying to figure it out. There's so much more information and lesson plans and videos and online,
Yeah.
but we didn't have that back then, especially when you guys were really little and I was considering it.
K-12. I remember looking at
yes.
K-12. But no, I think I learned to thrive in the traditional school environment. Especially, I think it was so funny. I think it was my either junior or senior year of high school. They added these things in our schedule called power breaks, where like after second period, we'd just have like 14. It was always weird times, like 11 or 14-minute break, where they're like, just go grab a snack, chat with your friends for a few minutes. And we had like
That's
2 of
nice.
those a day. And at first, we were like, this is so dumb. Just let us go home 30 minutes early. Like, we don't want to be here. And then, like, a year into it, I literally remember talking to my friends and being like, how did we ever get through a day without a power break? I needed this. I needed this so bad. Kids were playing like spike ball in the halls. It was really fun.
With our like 2-hour classes at Berkeley, they always would give us a 10-minute break. And so sometimes they just forget about the break or things like that. And then they're like, well, we could end early, but I'd prefer the break.
Yeah.
And then ending 10 minutes early. I'd rather have that break just to talk to people and get, stretch your legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
In fact, why don't we take a break right now? No, I'm just kidding.
And that break is called the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening.
This has been a great conversation, though, and I'm so proud of you guys. And reliving these memories has been very, very good for my heart.
Good.
I'm getting nostalgic and sappy as I get older. I've always been sappy, though.
Yeah.
I could
You've always been a
cry.
crier.
I could always cry at a Disney movie.
Oh,
Intermission of
man.
Wicked.
The intermission of Wicked tore me up.
It did.
Not because it was sad, just because it was so amazingly beautiful.
It's so in your
And
face.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It was
man,
great.
I love that. I love celebrating beauty.
We'll talk about that whole experience of seeing Wicked in a later podcast, because that was a cool trip.
That was a cool trip. Also connected to another speech.
Yep.
So we did our fair share.
But that is our time for this podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and tell your friends. You can follow up with us on our other socials. I'm Maggie Thurman on everything.
Dan Thurman, or Maggie's dad 123 on TikTok.
Eddie Thurman. The Eddie Thurman on Instagram. Eddie Thurman on Twitch.
And mom is just an award-winning screenwriter with no social media. Well, you tagged her on Instagram, right?
Yeah, she did post on Instagram the other day.
Yeah. Neither one of us really post on Instagram too much.
Dad, you post on Instagram every week. It's just your weekly video.
I post on his Instagram every week.
Yeah, mom posts for dad on Instagram every week. But
That's
yes, thank you guys so much for listening.
Hey, leave us your questions at wholesomechaos.com. Tell us how you enjoy the podcast, what's going on in your life. If you've got some questions that are really troubling you about decisions to make or things that you're dealing with, or you just want to grow your family in a new and different way, we would love to maybe look at those questions with you and offer some insights that could be beneficial. And the thing is, if it's important to you, there's a really good chance it's also important to a lot of other people in this audience. And so that's why going to wholesomechaos.com and asking those questions is really good for all of us.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for this week. I sure love you, Maggie.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, Eddie.
Love you too.
Love you, honey.
Love you too.
We all love you. And Mags, we're going to see you before you know it.
Ah, so excited. All right. Love you guys.
Have a great
Bye.
week.
You guys, bye.
Bye.
and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
Guys, I just got a text from Josh, and it just says, "Bro, why does that video have 1 million likes?"
Oh, nice.
Oh wait, I got another from my friend Frankie. He said, "TikTok pressed a special button for this one."